Assalamu alaikum. This is part 2, people. If you haven't watched part 1, go back and watch part 1 and then come here. You won't know what's going on. So again, it's January 16th, 1987, a cold, wet Friday. Now, Lita gets up early. She's nervous about her upcoming trial that day. Now, at the same time that she's getting up early in her house, there are some guys. They drove up to a store called the Botany Bay Flower Shop. Now, this shop is located on Peachtree at Far Road. That's about a half mile from Lita's house. They're driving in a white Toyota. So one guy gets out the car, goes into the flower shop. He demands a dozen roses. He said he don't care what color. Now, there's a clerk in the store named Randall Benson. Now, when Randall Benson seen this guy come into the store, he felt nervous and kind of scared. He's like, man, these dudes are like, this guy, like, he gonna rob the spot. You know what I mean? But the guy is there. He's a white guy, tall, balding hair in the front, he said. And he told Randall Benson to leave the shop sticker off the box. So the clerk tied it up with a pink ribbon, put it in the white box. Boom. They hop in the white car. They jet off. Okay? It's around 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, these men are actually getting these flowers for Lita. They're about to do a hit. Okay? They're about to do this hit. This is the guy, Tony Harwood, that her husband James was talking to. So he goes up to the house. This man's wearing a green work jacket, gray pants, goes up to Lita's door, got a white box in his hand, rings the doorbell around 8 in the morning, people, little after 8. Lita's up. She's already nervous about her upcoming trial. Boom. So she hears the doorbell. She puts on her house coat, goes downstairs, answers the door, 8:20 in the morning. So she sees this big old flower box. So she opens the door wide. She thinks she must have thought she was getting a delivery. So when she grabs the box of flowers from this dude, the man lifts a gun up under the box. Boom, boom, 2 shots. One flew into her living room. The other hit Lita in the temple. Lita falls down. The men, they run away on foot. They're running mad, crazy. One neighbor says that they almost hit them with her car. She's driving. She says they're running all crazy. She almost hit these dudes. There was another neighbor named Bob Christensen. He told the police that he looked down the street. He goes up to Lita's house. He sees her laying on the floor. He goes into the kitchen. He calls 911. He comes back to see if he could make Lita comfortable, but it was obvious. He said that she's in pretty bad shape. Okay, Lita's friend and her daughter are still upstairs at this time. Remember, she had friends that came over. They heard what's going on. They're hysterical. They get up. Her friend Poppy calls Lita's parents. Shortly after, Lita was pronounced dead. Her parents immediately knew that this dude, James, did this to her. 40 minutes after this shooting at 9 a.m., James Sullivan accepted a collect call at his Palm Beach mansion from a payphone at a rest stop about 34 miles from Lita's house. This call lasted a minute, and that was pretty much the "it's done" call. You know what that was, people. Just calling him to let him know it's done. So what happens next? This was James' clever plan to do it like this. Go get the flowers, come through with the flowers, because this way she'll open the door. This hit was done with a 9mm semi-auto. And on the morning of this shooting, James Sullivan's lawyer called him to let him know that Lita was dead. But he already knew. I mean, he's the one that did the hit. Who knows? Lawyer might have even been in on it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Who knows with these white people, conversations or whatever. So after his wife is killed that day, right? He did it. He orchestrated that hit. He had lunch with a business associate. And at about 8 p.m., he dined out with his girlfriend, who's a South Korean born woman named Hyo Suk Choi. They call her Suki, at a restaurant called Joe's, which is a posh French restaurant. This is the Asian woman that you see coming up in some of the clips on the video. That's the girlfriend, okay? They call her Suki. So this guy just blew away his own wife. He's going on business meetings and dates. He don't care. Cold white man stuff. You know what I mean? So this guy, James, he's somebody that always kept notes. And it kind of didn't work in his favor. The authorities, eventually they found all kinds of notes that he left about the planned assassination of his wife, things like that. But Lita's gone. We'll get to that part later. Lita's gone. James Sullivan is happy. He saved a lot of money, right? She was going to get half at least. He got out of that. Now, 8 months after Lita is gone, he married his new girlfriend, Suki. This is her fourth marriage, his third. So this might be what she does, you know. These are two money-hungry people out trying to do their thing. I guess they're good together. They're moving and shaking, doing their 1-2 in the Palm Beach circuit. Now, here's where some things started to get crucial for James. In March of 1990, 3 years after Lita passed away, he got that off, y'all. He got away with that. Her family, her parents know that he did it, but that's just them knowing that they can't prove it. James Sullivan, he got in a 3-car fender bender while driving his Rolls Royce. Now, his driver's license was revoked in 1989 due to more than a dozen traffic violations. He didn't deal with the fines. And what he did was he took the matter to court and he told them that Suki was the one driving, his new Asian Korean wife or whatever, you know. But the traffic cop that pulled him over said no, she wasn't even in the car. So we tried to lie and get that off. He couldn't. He was convicted of 2 counts of perjury. He was sentenced to house arrest for a year. He was confined to his home, except he could have tennis court therapy, which was prescribed by his doctor. So during that time that he's on house arrest, the authorities are still seeking clues into Lita's death. You know, federal agents are coming through searching his house. They found 4 guns. They found a sawed-off shotgun. He was convicted on felony charges of firearms possession. He was sentenced. Now, when he got caught with these firearms in the house, this guy, James Sullivan, was sentenced to spend the remaining 9.5 months of his house arrest in Palm Beach County Jail. So now this dude's going to Palm Beach County Jail. So by this time, the Korean chick, Suki, she filed for divorce. At her divorce trial, Suki testified that James Sullivan admitted his role in Lita's death. She's speaking in choppy English. She explained he turned the TV on high. He say anybody can listen to this conversation. So he told me he hired person to kill Lita. He said, let's sell this house as soon as possible. And he say, we go anywhere you want, anywhere in the world. He also mentioned to her that in Georgia on the countryside, you could hire those people for nothing and you could do anything you want to have done. James Sullivan is in jail. His new wife, Suki, is filing for divorce. She's telling on him because it ain't work out for her, of course, not because she cares. James Sullivan gets into a jailhouse fight with a convicted robber by the name of Paul O'Brien. This dude broke James Sullivan's nose while they're fighting. So time goes on. January 1992, federal agents indict James Sullivan on interstate murder conspiracy charges in Atlanta for doing this to Lita. James Sullivan goes and hires big time lawyer named Ed Garland and Don Samuel. These are the 2 of the top criminal defense lawyers in America. These are the same lawyers that Ray Lewis had when he got acquitted for murder in that post-Super Bowl Buckhead bar brawl that left a man dead. Big time lawyers. So now it's time to go to trial. This charge that he's facing, interstate murder conspiracy by using interstate commerce to commit murder, dismissed. Insufficient evidence. November 23rd, 1992, James got that off. He's a free man. Now he's back in West Palm Beach. But he blew a real big bag on his lawyers. He blew a lot of money. Remember, James Sullivan had money. He was a millionaire, but they only had new money. He wasn't wealthy. He had that money like somebody in the family gets drafted to the NFL or NBA and they sign a contract, but everybody else poor. But I don't think he was taking care of people like that. But he had new money. People with money don't really respect that. So now he's riding around Palm Beach on a bicycle. Okay, he's on a bicycle. He's not showing up amongst these events with these elite whites. He's kind of embarrassed. Now, although he's doing this guy is not really broke. He found out he knew how to hide money. And remember, he's got this Palm Beach mansion for $3.2 million. He sold it. He sold the mansion. Boom, he gets that money. He he moves into a modest place near Boynton Beach. So he downsized. He wasn't stupid. So 1994, Lita McClinton's family, they go to their lawyer. They want to hit James Sullivan in civil court for wrongful death. They said, no, we got to hit this guy. James Sullivan, he says, you know what? I'm going to represent myself. I'm firing lawyers. I'm not paying for lawyers anymore. He was hoping that the jury would sympathize with him. He'll be in court talking, acting like a victim, asking questions, acting like, he really cared about his wife. He's in court pouting and saying to be a husband and you lose your wife violently, this is the worst thing that could happen to a man. He's even questioning Lita's parents, and they know he killed her daughter. So they call his ex-wife Suki in, right? The Korean chick. She admitted that, yeah, he told me he did that. They even called a dude that he fought in the county jail, this guy named Paul O'Brien, the convicted robber who broke his nose. They called him as well because when he was in jail, James Sullivan told him that he arranged his wife Lita's murder. Okay? So they bring these people to court. It didn't take long for the jury to reach a verdict. On February 15th, 1994, James Sullivan was found guilty and ordered to pay Lita's parents $4 million in damages. So Lita's parents are happy and they say, you know what? This is not about the money, but we can't have this guy, he did this to our daughter and he's running around just spending money. No, James Sullivan is upset about that. James Sullivan hires lawyers, he appeals, and he is successful. In 1995, the Florida Supreme Court overturned the ruling in favor of Lita's family, okay? They said that this court case had not been filed soon enough. They said this isn't criminal court. In criminal court, there's no statute of limitations on murder, but in civil court, there's a 2-year statute for wrongful death, and those 2 years have passed by. So they said, yes, James Sullivan is right. You guys were not supposed to win. So Lita's family's lawyers fire back and they're like, listen, yeah, it's 2 years, but this guy is good at hiding all kinds of information. We didn't have everything we needed to take this to civil court. It took longer than 2 years. As soon as we had the information, we took it to civil court. So they're like, that right there shouldn't apply to us. And it did work out in their favor. The Florida Supreme Court agreed with them in 1997. They reinstated the guilty verdict. So time goes on. More clues are coming out. More witnesses. More people are talking. An ex-girlfriend of the hitman who was paid, that truck driver Philip Anthony, Tony Harwood, well, his ex-wife is even talking now. So in May of 1998, the husband, James Sullivan, and his hitman, Philip Harwood, are indicted by a Fulton County grand jury for the murder of Lita McClinton Sullivan. So now they have Tony Harwood in custody. Now the authorities called the husband, James Sullivan's lawyers, to get him to surrender, but by then he was already gone. This dude disappeared. In September of 1998, the state issued its intent to seek the death penalty against the hitman, Tony Harwood. And in 2003, Tony Harwood pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter with an agreement to testify against James Sullivan when he eventually goes to trial. In exchange, Tony Harwood's sentence was reduced to 20 years. So he went on to Georgia State Penitentiary in Reidsville, did his time. In the meantime, this guy, James Sullivan, the husband, he's on a run, 18 years. This dude is in Thailand. He's wherever he wants to be. He's at the top of the FBI Most Wanted list for 4 years. In 2002, America's Most Wanted ran a segment on James Sullivan. After they ran that segment, somebody in Thailand actually recognized him. He was living in a town in a luxury condo community about 150 miles south of Bangkok. Okay, he was living with a woman named Chungwada Reynolds. This is a Thai woman that he met in West Palm Beach. I guess he told her, like, listen, come on out here with me. And that's who he was with, man. Somebody actually recognized this dude. They called the Thai police. Thai police come in, they arrest James Sullivan, took him to the prison. Now he's locked up. Now what he's doing now, He's fighting extradition. He doesn't want to get sent back to America to face the death penalty. That's his whole priority. That's what his lawyers are trying to do. Now, the way they're trying to do this is this. This guy, James Sullivan, has dual citizenship in the United States and in Ireland. Remember, his parents are from Ireland. A lot of these white people got dual citizenship. So the way his lawyers are trying to do this, they're trying to make sure they can get him out of this Thai prison, but he doesn't have to be extradited to the US so that he can go to Ireland. And if he gets to Ireland, he can't be extradited to the US because Ireland has a law that says that their citizens cannot be extradited to a country to face capital punishment. So his whole goal, getting out of this Thai prison, getting to Ireland, and he's good. But it ain't work out for him. The Thai people sent him back to the USA. Okay, so in March of 2004, he's 62. James Sullivan is sent back to Atlanta, gets out at Hartsfield Airport. He's going to Fulton County Jail. Now, here's the deal. This guy, James Sullivan, he still got money. He was hiding money for years using a private banker in Palm Beach, who worked with a Swiss bank. They hid his money here. You know that stuff. He's down there in Palm Beach with these rich white people. They know how to do that stuff. These people ain't paying taxes and fees and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? They know how to funnel money through the corporate trust and all this other stuff. So he actually has money doing the whole loophole thing. He never paid a dime to Lita's parents either. Okay? So let's fast forward. 2006, James Sullivan was convicted of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Tony Harwood, his hitman, was released from prison in 2018. He served his 20 years. Okay, Lita's father passed away in December of 2023 at age 90. And people, I get most of this stuff in this story right here. Besides doing my own research, I got most of my stuff from a book called A Devil Went Down to Georgia. Okay, it was written by a woman by the name of Deb Miller Landau. This is where most of this information comes from, the most thorough information. If anybody may have been writing about it on certain websites or whatever, it comes from this book, A Devil Went Down to Georgia. And yes, the white devil went down to Georgia. Even the white woman who wrote this book, she knew that this dude was a white devil. You know what I'm saying? But people, I don't even feel like talking about this no more. I didn't even think this video was going to get that long. I was just, going to do my 1-2 with the regular information. But the more I read, it just went deeper and deeper. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you know about this. Easy.